Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Mental Wealth Podcast. My name is Will Fleming.
And I'm Makire Maricela Thompson.
Hey everyone, welcome to another awesome installment of the Mental Wealth Podcast, proudly supported, well, by my friend Akare and I, but also the community organization that helps many, many people in our community's Foundation North. So yeah, this is the Mental Wealth Podcast. My name is Will Fleming.
And I'm Makire Maricela Thompson.
And yeah, I guess I've already introed us. So we've got another amazing guest here today, and why don't we jump in, eh, Ray?
Yeah, no, definitely. Vijay, you and I go way back, 12 years in the police. I served with you. You were several years before me. You're an awesome mentor and coach for me in my career in the police. Welcome, Uzo, and it's great to have you here. Now, just to get the ball rolling, please, Uzo, for those who don't know you, never met you, who is Vitale Vijay Lafaele?
Yeah, well, most people call me Vijay, and thank you, Ray, for that humbling introduction. Like most of our people, come over from Samoa back in the 60s, with our parents wanting to make a better life for us all, and landed in Greyland. Grew up in Greyland, went to St. Paul's College. Left there and then joined the army and joined the police, and I guess here I am.
Vijay, on this podcast, we try and talk about passion. We try and put that passion into purpose, maybe something like that. How does that work for you, Vijay? When you were young, were you looking for passion? What does that kind of term passion mean to you? I
guess I had influences like my uncle. He was a senior sergeant in police in Samoa. And I remember running around, and we used to, just as primary school kids, and I always had a fascination with plastic guns. I think it was just in the blood, law enforcement, plastic guns, and making guns out of little sticks and nails. And I guess it was just inbred in me that was something I always really wanted to do. Never in my wildest dreams did I realize I'd do and get and achieve those little bits that I have achieved. But I guess it was just something that was always in there. So I was lucky that way, because from a young age I wanted to be in the police. I wanted to be James Bond, and I always played with guns and stuff. So, and that just progressed into never leaving me. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I do know that. And my dad, he worked for Eden Security. Eden Security was the only security business way back in the 70s and 80s, and he used to have white shirts and black pants. And I remember he was always proud of that, ironing his white shirt and going out to Edinburgh Castle and stuff like that. And it was all about security and safety. And then, of course, his brother being a senior sergeant police. And then my other uncle used to come over, used to go to watch James Bond movies. So I guess that's just the environment I grew up in, but I always wanted to do it in a good way with guns.
Vijay, I've had you on my podcast, on other podcasts, to talk about your amazing story. Can you please grace our audience with your story of, I don't know, what do you call it? Getting into the SAS. It's more than getting in. You were accepted into a really small group of high achieving people. Can you talk about that journey, please, a bit?
Funny enough, I was just driving to work. I wasn't driving; I was catching trains to Ministry of Works, and I was a storeman labourer. And on this particular time, I had my 120Y Datsun, and I was driving along, and I had first time ever. I think it was 1982. First time ever since it's open to civilians. The Special Air Service, SAS. I didn't even know what it meant. I thought, SAS, what's that? Open to civilians? And then the Herald came out, and it had New Zealand Army. So I thought, wow, I don't know what SAS, but it's New Zealand Army. So I went from that to the civilian intake. So they opened it up because they weren't getting enough people through. So I went along with over 300, and long story short, over 15 months, I got in. So that was really cool.
Vijay, not many people get into the SAS, 5 of 300, and you were one of those 5. What's your secret? Can you share that secret? Is there a secret?
I guess for me, because I was a storeman and a labourer, and look, hey, that's a wonderful profession in itself, but I wanted to be. I did not see failure. Failure for me is not going back to be a storeman or labourer. It's not fulfilling what I wanted to fulfil, whether it was the SAS or police. And that gave me my purpose. Failure wasn't an option. This is my life. This wasn't just a job. This is everything from a kid getting to this point to be what I wanted to be. So failure was just not an option for me. It's not like I'll fail and go back to a job. To me, this is my life and I had to do it. And I think that was a bit of a difference.
Now, was there anything in your journey that prepared you mentally for success?
Yeah, and I guess it comes back to family too, because my dad died about 8 months before then. Yeah, so he's 47. So he passed away with a heart attack, died suddenly. So whether that was a driver in that, in terms of my father's legacy. And I guess it takes it back to why we came here. They were the pioneers. They came here. They couldn't speak English. They didn't have friends or family. They were the pioneers, not me and the SAS. So you take that, and he passed away under a year before I went into this journey. And I thought, you know what? They would all get into the SAS. And what's my excuse? So when I do deeper into that, that really was it. That we'll come here, they'll sacrifice everything. Imagine me going to a country where I can't speak the language. I've got no family ties. I've sacrificed everything. And then he passes away. And then 10 months later, I take this. And I thought, yeah, so what? They drove us to here and we're going to succeed. They're the real champions. No, not me.
Now, when arriving as a young man from Samoa to this new cold country called New Zealand, what were your parents' expectations of you?
I'll just work hard and we brought you here for a better life, what that life looks like. And as long as you work hard, I was saying, it doesn't matter about the marks on your report. It's about that effort. And if you get A for effort, don't worry about if you got 20 in your marks. It was just all about effort and doing your very best.
It's an interesting topic, isn't it? Like hard work and the grind. I guess entrepreneurs kind of fall into this. It's all about the grind, But can we be grinding ourselves to nothing, Vijay? In this modern world, can we work too hard?
Yeah, and that was a journey for me. I think it's when to let go. Because I got sick. And I think sometimes with that mentality, you can push too hard. And I didn't sort of work that out until I actually got sick and multiple strokes and having to leave the police. And it's just calming everything and saying, hey, it's okay. To be vulnerable. It's okay not to finish that 10-mile run in so many minutes. It's okay to just rest up. Because how far can you actually go before something happens, whether it's through relationships at home or whether it's your own mental and physical health.
Vijay, I guess this chat is celebrating the good and bad, if that makes sense. And that's where I guess Ray and I want to go with the Mental Wealth podcast. It's not always about, I guess the wealth side. The kitty isn't always full of money, but it might be with ideas or inspiration. And the lesson I kind of take away is that life doesn't stop. You always have to move on. And you talked about still being a dad, even when the floor had fallen away. And I guess my question is, what did you focus on when the chips were down?
To me, it's what will my kids think? Not because of anything. What can my kids take out of me in my journey, whatever that journey is? I'm getting promotion, for instance, and there's a hall full of people, and that would be, just keep humble. Just keep your feet on the ground. And so they've been across a lot of things in terms of my employment. But now that I'm sick, what lessons can they take? You know, and that was around, and when there'll be parents one day, they're going to face adversity one day. What messages, what examples did I want to leave with them? And that was it. That was it. And that was, you know, just to accept it. You know, I cry openly in front of them, you know, and I think I never did that before. And to express yourself in a very open way. And also they think, well, Dad was really crook. He was under a lot of stress, but never lost his rag, you know, and that's tough sometimes, particularly in the early parts. But then when I look at it later, it was actually good to open up. But just protecting them sometimes. So it's those little things that I thought, what would they do? What would they think? Not because I want to be staunch, but what lessons can I give in the good times and not too good times? And whether my interpretation of that was correct, who knows? But I would hope that when they grow up and lead their lives and have their children and grandparents, that they can take something out of this bad stuff. And I don't know whether it worked or not, you know? But that's how I thought to try to navigate myself through those times.
Now, Vijay, you live to tell the story and share your wisdom about the importance of work-life balance. Thank you for normalizing that and, you know, encouraging people to see that it is normal to have challenges in life, but there are tools and resources and support out there to get through it.
Sometimes it's a blessing that I did get sick. You know, firstly, because I'll be sitting probably at Police National Headquarters. I've lived so much in the 5, 6, 7 years I've been gone. But the biggest gift has been realizing, you know, that it's all about family, and it took me that to refocus a bit, and also not stressing, you know, just like this new job I've got. Before I used to be really worried about it, where to me it's okay, you know. If I get a call out, I get a call out. I just deal with it as I see it, and I don't get wound up about the circumstances and what people think. And to me, it's not blasé, but I have a matter of fact, and it's not about promotion. To me, it's just doing the job, So it's really changed me from what I was before I got sick, and those are the learnings for me, and it's worked so far.
So Vitale, after everything you've shared with us today, the insights and the ups and downs, can I ask you what the term mental wealth means to you? What does the term mental wealth mean to Vijay?
I guess the thing that comes to my mind is when I used to look at my kids and we used to train, I used to take them out kayaking and I used to say to them, every 5K run we do, or every walk we do, that's money you put in the bank, because you got to stay fit, you got to stay strong, because that's the wealth of physical fitness. Because when you get sick, like I got sick, I was fit, I was strong, and then you're going to withdraw on that one day, and I withdrew down to 0 zeros. And you've got to give yourself a fighting chance in life. And I guess if I use that same analogy to mental health, is what can you do to better yourself in terms of preparing for when things happen, you know, with this COVID that's going on, jobs being lost, the uncertainty of life, that's the meaning for me is whether I do meditation, mindfulness, just have a change of a job, or just relax, whatever that looks to you. That's what you need to really work on and enhance on and do, because there may be that juncture of your life that it just turns pear-shaped. But if you've got all those little things in your back pocket, then it'll give you more resilience and preparedness for when things aren't too good.
For our audience members listening and watching, what are some tips that you can offer them to overcome or to get through their mental wealth?
To me, you got to be at your fighting best. And what's helped me throughout my whole career and my life has been physically fit. And even when I went into the SAS, I was a storeman, but they have extreme fitness levels. So I've always been physically fit and strong. And when I got sick, I was physically, and I was in my 50s. So I think, and when I used to go different roles, like I have an office job and I get promotion to go into the front line again, I'd spend a month to 6 weeks, 8 weeks back in the gym, just preparing myself for battle, just preparing myself for that part of that journey in terms of my career. So I guess physical fitness to me was a key thing, and also that helps with your self-esteem. When you're strong, you're fit, you can fit clothes, you feel really good. There's a lot of stuff that comes from physical fitness that would help, that really, really helps. And I guess the other thing is, don't do what you want to do in your job. Do what you want to do in your career. Don't do what the organization wants you to do. Because sometimes they can silo people into different things that they want them to do for the organization. So I always wanted, and I've turned down promotions and that because I wanted to chase the guns. I didn't want to go and do other stuff. So I got offered different positions and promotion. I said, no, I want to go into witness protection. I want to go into dignitary protection because it's all about guns and little wires. I want to go to an armed defender squad. Oh, there's never been a Pacific armed defender. You don't want to go there. I'm still the only special tactics group commander. But that's chasing your passions. Don't chase what the organization wants you to, because if you do that, you lose the passion, and so many people go through careers and they start to go for where the organization wants them to go and they get burnt out. But it's that where their heart is. And I think physical fitness and doing what you want to do, and saying no. And every job I've done is what I wanted to do. And I think that's really important.
Lastly, Vijay, thank you once again, also for making time today. I know you're a very, very busy man. We appreciate everything that you're doing and for you sharing your amazing time with us and our audience, listeners and viewers this afternoon. Thank you, Uzo.
Oh, and thank you both for doing that. Yeah, Vijay, love it.
Thank you, Vijay. We appreciate it. And thank you to our audience who joins us on this podcast. I like to call it a historical podcast because I don't see too many people our size out there doing kind of these meaningful chats, right? Remember, the world thought we'd be on the rugby field, right? Which we both were, but now we're in the podcast studio talking to our, leaders like Vijay. And I guess we just want to thank everyone, including the awesome team at Foundation North for supporting this podcast in part, as well as A&K Thompson and all of the work here we do at Campfire Studios. So on behalf of us, thank you everybody, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Thank you.